someone from another class came to our friends and family to get the last of his pokes, and this dude was wildin'. He was simply outlandish. Like, the technique that he had, abysmal. He was trying to poke people with the bevel of the needle like upside down. He was not doing the tourniquet correctly. He was a hot mess. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm really excited to make this video because I officially have my phlebotomy license. Now that I have my license, I figured I can give you a walkthrough of exactly how I got my license and the steps it took to get there. The first thing you have to do, of course, is find a reputable phlebotomy class. I went with the phlebotomy training specialist because they have classes all through California and a bunch of different schedules for different people. I ended up taking the weekend accelerated course, which was 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. for 5 Saturdays in a row. It ended up being like 7 Saturdays though because class was canceled twice. But anyway, you do have the option to do an accelerated course during the week as well as regular courses during the week that would take you 2 weeks to complete. I had school and work during the week, so getting it done in just over a month on Saturday was the perfect schedule for me. I bit the bullet and I paid the $2,400 for the class. That cost included full tuition, it included my classroom materials, it included the fee for the licensing exam I would have to take after class. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. I didn't know this until I looked back on their website, but the price of the class changes throughout the year. I paid $2,400 and I started in February. Now the classes are $2,000. I guess during slower times of the year, they just charge less, which is great for you if you're considering doing the class. Jump on it now while it's still $2,000. I unfortunately overpaid, but that's neither here nor there. I did start taking classes at the end of February and I just got my license at the end of July, so it took me 6 months. Now getting into a little bit of the classroom structure. For the first 2 weeks, we didn't do any sort of pokes. We basically studied technique and we studied in the training manual that they give you. This is the manual that they give you. It covers literally everything you need to know, the history behind phlebotomy, how to do it correctly, how to avoid making mistakes, cross-contamination, order of draw, literally everything you need to know. It's in this booklet and the price of it is included with your tuition fees. I had a total of 2 instructors for my class, which is abnormal. For the first 2 classes, I had 1 instructor and she was either late or she would reschedule the class when it didn't suit her needs. So she was quickly replaced by another teacher that taught in Victorville, but she came down to teach us, to help us through our class. Every instructor has different teaching styles, so take this with a grain of salt, but with my second instructor, Joanna, she was a lot more hands-on. My first instructor would actually give us portions of bookwork to do at home outside of the classroom, which you should be doing as a refresher for the material you learned in class, but in my opinion, not for new material. Everything should be done in the classroom, and with my second instructor, it was just that. We did everything in class together, we went over everything as a team, and we got a lot more hands-on training. During your 40 hours of classroom time, you have to have 30 successful venipunctures, which means you need to poke with the needle and get blood into the tube 30 times successfully. And you need 10 successful capillary sticks. Capillaries are just for your fingers. You have a little like automatic lancer that just slices it for you and you put it in the tube. Super straightforward. You honestly shouldn't mess up on those, but if you do, it's okay. So a total of 40 before you leave the classroom. When you first start to draw, it is the most nerve-wracking experience because none of us had ever done it before. But if your instructor is good, they will literally walk you through it. Our instructor demonstrated on us a couple times just so that we could see it happening and see the correct procedure. And then when it was our time to start practicing on each other, she would watch us one by one individually do it successfully, at least like 2 or 3 times before she would let us go off on our own and practice without direct supervision. Everything was done in the classroom while she was there and while she was like walking around viewing us. Once you kind of got the hang of it, that's when the training wheels came off a little bit. If you're someone that's afraid of needles, don't worry, I was too. You will quickly grow out of that. It's honestly just a matter of establishing a relationship of mutual trust and respect, and hopefully skill so it hurts like the least amount possible. They are needles, so they are going to hurt. We use butterfly needles that are a 22 gauge, and we also used 18 gauge needles as well that were just for the inside of the elbow. The butterflies could go on hands, they could go on forearms, or in the inside of the elbow, although you just use the 18 gauge there because the veins are larger. The larger the number, the smaller the gauge of the needle, so the less it hurts theoretically. When you're drawing on veins in your hands though, there's just less meat there. It's all skin and vein and like tendon and muscle. So it does hurt more when you're drawing in the hand. It's like at a 5-degree angle, it's very, very flat and you're just going right under the skin. So it does pinch, but they are the easier ones to get. So if you're struggling or if you're like weirded out by the idea of drawing, just start with a butterfly needle and move on from there. Your instructor honestly will probably recommend that to you anyway because it is the easier way of doing things, and then once you get comfortable with that, you can move on to the 18 gauge. I almost forgot to mention this, but you have to record every single venipuncture that you do or else you won't get credit for it. And you're gonna do it on a piece of paper. They'll tell you to print this out and bring this to class with you. It's just like a log. It has the patient type, so if it was pediatric, adult, or geriatric, whether you use a vacutainer, so 18 gauge, a butterfly, 22 gauge, or capillary, which are the finger pokes, if it was successful or not, and then your instructor will initial it. You are going to be doing this the entire time during your class training and during your externship hours, so don't lose this paper. The last day of your classroom training is Friends and Family Day, and it's where you bring in your friends and family and your instructor will watch you poke them and you will be graded on your success. You need 4 successful blood draws, 2 butterfly, and 2 venipuncture, and you have 6 tries to get them all. I brought my sister and my nephew for Friends and Family Day, and I only missed 1 time, so I just poked a total of 5 times, so I'm really lucky because I know some people did mess up and did not get certified that day. This is completely off topic, but that day, someone from another class came to our friends and family to get the last of his pokes, and this dude was wildin'. He was simply outlandish. Like, the technique that he had, abysmal. He was trying to poke people with the bevel of the needle like upside down. He was not doing the tourniquet correctly. He was a hot mess. He tried to poke me, but I had to quickly like put up arms. I was like, no sir, thank you, because he was just doing everything wrong and it made me very, very nervous. Yes, you have to be open-minded with people poking you because you need to poke them in return, but don't let someone poke you if you're not like comfortable with the situation, especially if you see that their technique is garbage. Just use boundaries, okay? Have boundaries. But anyway, once your instructor sees that you've done these successfully, you're then cleared to submit your documents for your exam. I got the results from my exam back like 2 days after I took it. It was really, really fast. The exam is with the NHA, the National Health Association, and you have to pass that exam before you move on to your externship. The good news is the price of your exam is covered with your classroom fees. The bad news is if you fail, you have to wait a month to take it again and pay another $100 and something to take the exam again. By the way, your instructors will give you a lot of resources to help you pass this exam. Your manual is the first set of materials that is really, really helpful for your exam. Your instructor will also give you like booklets of study material to help you, and maybe Quizlets or flashcards, something like that. And you should also get emailed a manual PDF of exactly how to walk through each stage of getting your license. They detail like what you should do during your didactic training, which is your classroom training, what you should do for your exam, then your externship, then submitting all your documents to then obtain your license. You're never in the dark here. You have all of these resources, so you really should pass the first time. But if you don't, it's okay. I know life gets in the way, so don't worry. As long as you submit your documents very quickly, like once class is finished, you can take your exam like starting maybe 2 weeks after class ends. I would really, really suggest taking your exam and studying for it as soon as possible because that's the last step that's stopping you from scheduling your externship. And you could be waiting for your externship for like 2-3 months. I finished my class like early March. I took my exam maybe 3 weeks later because I was in the middle of school and like midterms. And then I waited about 2.5 months to start my externship. if I did the math correctly. Honestly, I could have waited a lot longer if I hadn't reached out to them and asked them to put me in a sooner placement. They will firstly try and put you in the location that is closest to you so you don't have to travel as far. For me though, I would have had to wait an extra month and a half for a location that was near me. Instead, I chose to go to a location that was about 45 minutes away, but it was a sooner start time. I was really lucky in my externship placement. I got placed at a private practice. There were a lot of patients coming in and out. Unfortunately, not all of them needed only blood draws. If they needed blood draws and an IV, the nurse would just do it in one go so they wouldn't have to be poked twice. Phlebotomists cannot do IVs, so I couldn't help there. So I could really only poke a patient if they only needed a blood draw. So I had to get really creative and ask the nurses if I could poke them. I poked several nurses. I poked the massage therapist. I poked the administrative assistant. Anyone with a vein, I poked them. You just have to be charismatic and respectful and give them the option to say no, because you can't force people. But just let them know like, hey, I need X amount of draws by the end of this week so I can get my license, and they will absolutely accommodate you. You can get placed at a variety of locations though that don't need blood draws. So in the unfortunate circumstance that you get placed at like a COVID clinic where they're just doing swabs for COVID, you may not get all of your hours. Get as many blood draws as you can done during classroom training when you have all of your peers around you. Once you are done with your externship, on your last day, you have to have the nurse or the doctor or whomever sign your paperwork. Your externship team will send you exactly the paperwork you need to print out and bring with you. Highly recommend having all of this organized the first day you go, because you need to log your draws on a separate log sheet from your class draws. The last step to getting your license is submitting everything. Your classroom venipuncture log, your externship venipuncture log, your classroom hour log, your externship hour log, your like CPT form log. Everything gets submitted, so don't lose anything. This is the most important advice I could give you as a newly licensed phlebotomist. Send your high school or college transcripts to the National Health Association building as soon as possible. As soon as you pass your exam, before your externship, you should send in that document. I say this because it takes at least a week and a half for it to be sent there, for them to process it, and for it to reflect under your portal when you're trying to get your license. I got my license on July 25th and I finished my externship July 1st. I think I submitted all my documents July 2nd. Between the 2nd and the 25th, that was all waiting time because they didn't have my transcripts. It seems silly because to even participate in the phlebotomy classes, you have to prove that you have your high school diploma. But they need it themselves and they need a sealed copy that's signed, so just send that in literally as soon as you can. You do have to pay an additional fee for licensing. That is $100, and it is for your CPT-1 license, your phlebotomy license. If you can, jump on it right now in the summer while prices are low. Save yourself $400. You're welcome. And don't wait until you physically have your license to start applying for jobs. I'm applying for jobs now, but honestly, I could have been applying during the time that I was waiting for it to process. Yes, you need a valid license to start working, but not to start interviewing, so don't wait. I'm nervous because I don't want to forget anything important. So if I forgot something, or if you have specific questions about like class or externship or the exam or whatever, just let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks guys, see you next time.